Alright, so I actually just filmed a whole second video for about 40 minutes, but I was using the wrong mic and it sounded like dog shit, so I'm re-recording. Nice one. Anyway, today I'm not going to be talking about any thoughts necessarily or ideas. I'm going to be going through some things in this book called Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I had my own copy back in Malaysia. I read it over the course of about a year. I had a bunch of things highlighted, stuff that I'd like to read back, paragraphs that resonated with me. Unfortunately, I did not bring it to Australia with me. So, I'm borrowing my friend's copy, and there's nothing highlighted in it. So, I'm just gonna go through it and just like see what I recognize and see what I like and what I want to elaborate on. Yeah, okay. Let's start with this. In his comparative ranking of sins, applying philosophy to the common man's distinctions, Theophrastus says that offences of lust are graver than those of anger, because it is clearly some sort of pain and involuntary spasm which drives the angry man to abandon reason, whereas the lust-led offender has given in to pleasure and seems somehow more abandoned and less manly in his wrongdoing. Rightly then, and like a true philosopher, Theophrastus said that greater censure attaches to an offense committed under the influence of pleasure than to one under the influence of pain. And in general, the one is more like an injured party forced to anger by the pain of provocation, whereas the other is his own source of the impulse to wrong, driven to what he does by lust. Alright, let's think about that one, right? So, we're basically comparing two evils, right? We're comparing pain and we're comparing lust. Now, I don't mean pain as in pain. We're comparing anger to lust, which are in itself two evils in my opinion, none of them do any good for you necessarily at all. But in the book we say a man who acts out of anger, it's almost forgiven because he acts off the effect of pain that he might have experienced. But a man who acts out of lust for the purposes of his pleasure seems less manly in his wrongdoings. Now, okay, let's take it at the surface level. We can say a person who does something specifically for his pleasures, nothing else is gained. There is no constructive and valuable reason for why he's doing this other than it gives him pleasure, right? We're talking about wrongdoings here. We're not talking about general things. We're talking about wrongs. He does something wrong. He does something immoral, specifically to satisfy his pleasures. But then on the flip side, we have someone who does something wrong, who does something bad, not for his own pleasures, but because he was driven to by some sort of pain, some sort of let's just say some sort of, I don't know what the word for is, escapes my mind right now, but probably because I just spoke for 40 minutes before this. But yeah, basically there's something that's gone on previously in his life, right, that has led him to this moment where he does something wrong due to this pain and scarring within him, right, and he's led to do these bad things. On one hand, I agree, acting upon your pleasures, and more specifically doing something wrong based on you acting on your pleasures, is 100% worse than someone led to do something due to anger, because I'm sure we've all felt angry to a point where any rational thoughts go straight out the window. You can't think straight. You just see red. You can't be rational at that point, right? But then what I'm thinking about now is, on a surface level, I understand that, but what constitutes something for pleasure and something for anger? Because let's put it this way, right? When we say lust, I'm gonna take it in the sense of like sexual lust, right? Sexual pleasure. Because when you think of lust, normally that's what people refer to, at least in the 21st century, right? I don't know what they meant back in the day or whatever, but so let's say you're lusting over somebody, right? And they reject you. They don't reciprocate your advances. Now you're angry. Now you're really angry. And you do something bad, acting upon that anger. Is that then an action of lust? Or is it an action of anger, right? Because yes, you were angry, but you were driven to that anger because of your lust, because of your drive to satisfy your pleasures, right? You could say that if the lust never existed and you had never acted upon your pleasures, then you would have never gotten angry, and the wrongdoing would have never been committed. Let's think about it. Am I thinking about this too deeply? Is it meant to be taken on a surface level? What does it say? Involuntary spasm which drives an angry man to commit a wrongdoing. Involuntary spasm. This is a weird one, right? Because acting upon your pleasures can lead to anger. I don't believe you can work the other way around, right? You can't act on your anger and then feel the need for lust. I feel like it works the other way around most of the time. At the start, I just took it at face value, where I thought to myself, okay, actions born out of lust and born out of pleasure are not to be welcomed, nor is actions born out of anger, but actions of lust are far graver and more sinful, right? Like I said, we're just talking about the lesser of two evils, but we're still talking about two evils here. Alright, let's move on to the next one, because I'll think about that and I'll come back to it at some point. Okay, this is another good one. This is one I spoke about now as well. Even if you were destined to live 3,000 years or 10 times that long, nevertheless remember that no one loses any life other than the one he lives, or lives any life other than the one he loses, it follows that the longest and the shortest lives are brought to the same state. The present moment is equal for all, so what is passing is equal also. The lost, therefore, turns out to be the merest fragment of time. No one can lose either the past or the future. How could anyone be deprived of what he does not possess? Okay, let's think about this. Okay? First few lines. Even if you were destined to live 3,000 years or 10 times that long, nevertheless remember, no one loses any life other than the one he lives, or lives any life other than the one he loses. We live one life, we lose one life. Whether you live it or not, you will lose it someday. You don't have to worry about, like a material object. No, you will. You will. Let that sink in. You will lose it someday, right? Whether you live your life to the fullest or not, you will lose it, right? But at the same time, how about that? At the same time, if you lose, you will lose the life that you live, but you also only live the life that you lose, right? It can seem quite bleak when you really think about it, right? It does seem quite bleak. Well, what I take away from that is just live your life to the fullest, man. You only have this one life. You're gonna lose it one day eventually. Whether you're gonna live, like they say, 3,000 years or 10 times that long, you will lose it one day. And it is the only life you will ever lose or live. One. Think about it. One. Just one. It follows that the longest and the shortest lives are brought to the same state. At the end of the day, whether you live 10 days, 10 years, 10,000 years, it all ends in the same way. That is, everyone dies. Everyone dies. It all ends in the same way. The present moment is equal for all. Everyone has a present. Everyone who's alive at least has a present, right? No one does not have a present. That's not how that works. The present is ongoing. It is equal for all. So what is passing is equal also. The lost, therefore, turns out to be the merest fragment of time. No one can lose either the past or the future. How can anyone be deprived of what he does not possess? We do not possess the past. We do not possess the future. Right? Neither exist. The past is gone. It no longer exists. The future does not exist yet. What does exist though? What do we possess? The present. We possess right now. Right now. We can't be deprived of something that we don't own, right? You can't say, you deprived me of this car that's not mine. What does that even mean? You can't deprive somebody of something that isn't theirs, right? You can't say, you deprived me of this, but you don't own it, you don't have it, you don't possess it, right? Same way with time. I may sound like an idiot talking about all these things, right? But it's only because I'm a human, man. I I'm so intrigued about how these things work, philosophy. I'm trying to make sense of it all. And I feel like if someone were to come to me and tell me that, oh, you got it all wrong, bro, you don't understand shit about this book, I would genuinely think they're an idiot. You know why? I don't think the book, these passages, mean one thing. There's no right or wrong answer. They're written to be abstract so that you may interpret them how you want to. There's a base meaning, there's a fundamental, sure, yes. But you can swing it, right, and interpret it multiple different ways that may conform to your situation, may conform to your understanding, the context of what you've studied, what you've heard, or what you've learned, what you've read in the book. Anyway, let's carry on. Let me just keep looking. Okay, let's read this right. Because I think the power of this book is how it elaborates so heavily on the power of the mind, right? And I think this paragraph really emphasizes that. Men seek retreats for themselves in the country, by the sea, in the hills, and you yourself are particularly prone to this yearning. But all this is quite unphilosophic, when it is open to you at any time you want to retreat into yourself. No retreat offers someone more quiet and relaxation than that into his own mind, especially if he can dip into thoughts there which put him at immediate and complete ease, and by ease I simply mean a well-ordered life. So constantly give yourself this retreat and renew yourself. The doctrines you will visit there should be few and fundamental, sufficient at one meeting to wash away all your pain and send you back free of resentment at what you must rejoin. So what I take from this is, it's interesting how a lot of these things apply to like young kids nowadays, people my age. I'm still a kid. I'm willing to say that I'm still young. It's like people are scared to sit in a room with their own thoughts. They dare not sit silent somewhere and think and be able to, I don't know, fully understand and ingest their thoughts, dare I say. You always gotta have something playing, something going on, something you're watching, right? And the second you have a little bit of silence, right, people go insane. You got all these things going on in their head, stresses, maybe like past trauma, maybe overthinking about like situations or whatever. And it's just like, we need to teach ourselves how to sit down in a quiet room and just be at peace, meditate, dare I say. Meditations, right? Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. to be able to retreat into our own mind and cleanse ourselves of any frustrations and resentments is the ultimate power. That's my opinion on this, right? Think about it. The power. Like people say, I don't know if this is a real stat. People say like, oh, we only use 10% of our brain. What if we could use all of it, right? What if like through this philosophy, like philosophy is not a superpower, you know. We don't read these things and oh, I've become enlightened, and like, oh, there's like some magic lights and some freaking halo coming about, and I suddenly have this ability to use 100% of my brain. That's not how this shit works. What the fuck is up with that? Freaking thumbs up, man. But it's weird how you think about these things and it's like you gain this ability without even realizing it. One day it's like a muscle, right? It's like your brain's a muscle. You train it, you practice, you do something consistently over a period of time, you get better at it, isn't it? If you practice this ability to relax your mind, the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And I think us as human beings in the 21st century, we've avoided practicing it for so long, we've lost the ability, right? But it's so easy to gain back. It's part of us. It's part of our genetic makeup as human beings. And as people say, right, muscle memory. Yeah, sure, you don't use it for long enough, you're gonna lose it. But if you had it at one point, it's way quicker to regain. And I think everybody has the ability to regain this mental fortitude, right? And yeah, it's just this. Think about it, like, I find this really fascinating, right? To be able to retreat into the mind and cleanse yourself. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that absolutely crazy? Think about any situation you've ever been in, right? Any form of stress at any point in your life. Imagine if you could just go, give me a minute, close your eye, 60 seconds, retreat into your mind, sit down, boom, done, nothing, back to business, we're going, you know. No pressure, no stress, no hate, no resentment, no nothing. You're back to zero. Isn't that absolutely incredible? And I'm not talking about even like faking it, or even though I do think like fake it till you make it is a great motto to live by, right? Because even if you don't feel the most qualified to do something, fake it till you make it, you know. Fake it, work fucking hard until you make it, right? But isn't it crazy how sometimes things like stress and things like nerves are hard to mask? But if we had such a strong, like, fundamental, I don't even know what you call it, fundamental reasoning within your head, right? You had this ability to just calm yourself, be in control. That's the word, be in control. A lot of people nowadays are not in control of what's up here. We don't truly realize how what we think affects how we go about our lives, right? Being in control up here will fix 99% of your problems, right? And if you had the ability to be in control 100% of the time, you would be the ultimate human being. You would, you know? Nothing could ever faze you. And when something does, your mind is a strong enough pillar for you to fall back on and to rejuvenate you in a matter of minutes, right? That's incredible to me, you know. Let's see. Sorry about this, just having a look again. I'm just gonna read this out. Think always of the universe as one living creature, comprising one substance and one soul, how all is absorbed into this one consciousness, how a single impulse governs all its actions, how all things collaborate in all that happens, the very web and mesh of it all. You are a soul carrying a corpse, as Epictetus used to say. Change, nothing inherently bad in the process, nothing inherently good in the result. I'll leave you with this last paragraph, yeah? Your mind will take on the character of your most frequent thoughts. Souls are dyed by thoughts, so dye your own with a succession of thoughts like these. For example, where life can be lived, so can a good life. But life can be lived in a palace, therefore a good life can be lived in a palace. Again, each creature is made in the interest of another. Its course is directed to that for which it was made. Its end lies in that too which its benefit and its good. It follows that the good of a rational creature is community. It has long been shown that we are born for community. Or it was not clear that inferior creatures are made in the interest of the superior, and the superior in the interest of each other? But animate is superior to inanimate, and rational to the merely animate. To pursue the impossible is madness, and it is impossible for bad men not to act in character. Nothing happens to any creature beyond its own natural endurance. Another has the same experience as you, either through failure to recognize what has happened to him, or in a display of courage he remains calm and untroubled. Strange, then, that ignorance and pretension should be stronger than wisdom. I'll leave you with that one, yeah? Final thoughts. The mind is truly beautiful. It is capable of so much more than we think. If you ever think one day, I'm not capable of this, I can't do that, I can't do this, just try it. You know, no one's incapable of anything. It's simply just a thought, a doubt in your mind that bears no real consideration, right? Your mind is way more powerful than you may think, than you may know. As my dad used to say, you don't know what you don't know. Weird, right? You don't know what you don't know. Yeah, that's it from me. Second video of the day. I'm probably not gonna post the first one because the audio quality was fucking shit. But yeah, see you guys in the next video, hopefully with more stuff from the book that I would like to bring up. So yeah, see you then.